my name's Juliet and I'm an addict. I swear, it's true. I'm obsessed with clothes. I have a serious shopping addiction, which is why earlier this year I took up sewing because I thought I could turn my addiction into my hobby, and I did. So now sewing is my obsession. So to fuel this addiction, I scroll and I scroll and I scroll on Pinterest. I now have boards filled with pictures of clothes that I could A, never afford, or B, never find actually in stores. So that's why sewing comes in handy. So today I have chosen 3 projects from my Pinterest that I would like to recreate, and I thought I'd take you along with me. To begin, I want to start by making just a nice simple top. A spring top. I don't know about you, but when I think of spring, I think of florals. And I found the perfect fabric at the thrift store. Tell me this is not the perfect spring fabric. I just want a simple short sleeve top, form-fitting, and I found the perfect jersey fabric for it. I got 2 yards of this fabric for only $7. I think this fabric will be perfect for the project that I have in mind, but the pattern that I found needs 4-way stretch fabric, and this one is only 2-way stretch. 4-way stretch means the pattern should stretch this way and this way, but this one, it has only 2-way stretch. I don't care. I'll make it work. I don't know how, but I'll make it work. I feel like it'll work. I need it to work. I'll start by cutting my pattern pieces out and we'll go from there. Sorry for the weird angle. Since my fabric is stretchier this way than this way, I'll align all of my pattern pieces to be this way. Does that make sense? I've got all my pattern pieces laid out right here. I feel like this is a really unique take on a boring, simple top, especially with this detail right here and the little cap sleeves. I love it. It's really important to note that if you're using stretchy fabric, you should be using jersey needles, which is basically a ballpoint needle. It's really important to use jersey needles because they're actually designed for stretchy fabrics, and it prevents snags or holes in your fabrics as you work. Alright, I finally tried the shirt on. It's okay. I'm trying to fix the fit over here, but what I'm most concerned about is the sleeve. I don't know. I find it kind of weird that this whole space is kind of empty and straight, and the sleeve just starts up here. So I'm wondering if I should cut a bigger sleeve or a longer sleeve, I guess, so that I can attach it from here and go all the way around. Would that be better? Is it weird? I don't know. I'll try. Future Juliet here. Watching footage back, I've now realized that this is entirely my fault. I sewed the sleeves on wrong, which is why it looks like that. I should have stretched the sleeve out around the armhole for it to lay flat like a cap sleeve. Now that I say it out loud, it sounds so obvious to me, but it wasn't explicitly written in the instructions, which is why I didn't do it. So to clarify, this is all my own fault. let's talk about this pattern. So I had to tweak it a lot since, like I said earlier in the video, I didn't use 4-way stretch fabric like the pattern maker said to use. I only had 2-way stretch fabric, so that meant that I had to add a side panel to make it fit the way that I wanted it to, which looks nice, and I took it in a little bit at the waist. And the only other thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is the sleeve right here. No matter how much ironing and top stitching that I do, it just kind of sticks straight out. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know if I did something wrong, because in the reference photos, the sleeves really lay down like this, but I can't get them to lay down. And I don't mind, I like flitter sleeves, but this might be a little much. I don't know if anybody has any tips for that. But overall, I do really like this top. It feels very spring. Moving on to project number 2. This is a picture I have saved for a really long time on my Pinterest. It sort of reminds me of a vintage Gunny Sacks dress, if you know what that is. Which every time I come across one on the internet, I'm obsessed. So I have so many Gunny Sacks dresses saved, but this specific one has been on my Pinterest for a very long time. So this project is very fitting. So for what I love about this project, specifically, I love all of the trim details. It's very Bohemian, life on the prairie-ish, which is kind of what I'm into lately. I do like the V-shaped waist also, the gathered skirt. I think it's the type of project that would look really good on my body type, which, by the way, is something that I'm trying to consider from now on to really take my sewing to the next level, because lately I've been sewing lots of pieces that I don't actually wear, unfortunately, because I don't like how they look on me. I wasn't taking the time to ask myself, would I like it on me, and not just if I like the garment in general, which is something that I'm trying to do, because I do invest lots of time and effort and money into these pieces, and when I don't end up actually wearing them, it makes me kind of sad. So I'm trying to avoid that by actually considering if the garment would look good on me, and I do think this one will, so that's a good sign. And I'll be using the S9779 Simplicity pattern for this as a base, but I will end up having to make some changes to the pattern, and I'll talk you through those later in the video. For the fabric, I'm just using a white and blue bedsheet that I found at the thrift store. Here I'm adjusting the commercial pattern that I'm using to make it look a little bit more like my inspo picture. I'm lowering the neckline and making it taper down lower in the middle to give it a subtle sweetheart neckline. And then for the back of the pattern is a very low scoop back, and I'm just modifying that to be a regular straight across back. As you can see, I have my inspo picture laid out in front of me to keep referencing it throughout this whole process, and I'm using the rulers to true all of my lines. The pattern calls for putting boning channels right on the front bodice. However, I already put a bunch of trims and I don't want to add any stitching lines on the front, so I thought I would just add the boning channels to the lining layer. I've never done that before, but I hope it turns out just as good, and I hope it doesn't ruin anything for like the structure or that it doesn't sit right, but I'm taking a chance. I totally messed up. I I stitched the two halves together. It was supposed to be at the back here where the straps are, but I stitched the fronts together and then I trimmed the seam allowance. But this isn't supposed to be trimmed. Now it's too short, like it's too small. But since it's the lining layer, I think I'll just add another piece and like I don't care. It's the lining layer, it's just ugh. I keep messing up. That means that these front pieces are shorter and now this is too small. So I'm gonna need to add another piece here to make it longer like it was before because I was too distracted and I messed up again. I also ended up deciding to make this into two separate pieces, a top and a skirt, instead of a dress because I think I'll actually get more wear out of it this way. I can wear the pieces together or separately, and if I lay everything right, I can still make it look like one dress. So I can make at least 3 separate outfits with just one sewing project. I'm now adding trim to the skirt to match the top and make it look more cohesive. Moving on to project number 3, I made this stunning spring dress. For this video, I filmed the whole process, but I don't know how I ended up losing all of the footage. So unfortunately, I can't show you how I made this one, but I do have to modify it a little bit because I don't know if it's the pattern itself or the fabric that I chose, but it is a full-length gown. I want to shorten it because the full length mixed with I think the pattern and the cut of it makes it look very, very formal, almost like a prom dress, which is not the vibe that I was going for. So I do want to shorten that into a mini dress. I know this might hurt to watch for some of you. Okay, I do know that there are techniques for doing this, but I just went ahead and I just started cutting. As you can see, I'm very precise with it. It's very even, but it truly turned out okay, so don't be too scared. Don't worry, it turned out all right. I'm absolutely obsessed with everything that I made in this video. I'm so happy with how it came out because I really brought my Pinterest board to life, which is exactly what I was hoping for. I'm actually so surprised that I like all of these items because like I said earlier, lately I've been making lots of items that I don't actually end up wearing or liking. But I actually love everything that I made today, and even though they're all unique pieces, I can style them so many different ways, which I love. Anyway, this video was so much fun to make. And I plan on making many more videos like this, so if sewing content interests you, I would love for you to stick around and subscribe, and you can comment down below which item was your favorite from this video. See you next time.